Hello, welcome to e-Niro Diaries. It's the 8th of June 2025 and I hope you're all well. Now, I really appreciate all the comments that I've had on the last video for the 120,000 service. Just want to say a few things about that and also to talk a little bit about some of these reduction gear changes that we've seen. So when it comes to tyres, EVs wear tyres out much faster than petrol or diesel cars, don't they? No, they don't. My front tyres did 51,000 before I changed them, and they were still well within the legal limit, but we were going into winter and I didn't want to take any risks. So I changed those about last July, August, I think it was, when I had the 105,000 service. So they'd gone from 54,000 to 105,000. The rears were still really good. I mean, going into last winter, they were at 4 millimeters, and I thought, I'll change those in the spring. Now, what I didn't realise was, as you saw from the last video, that when it was jacked up at the garage on the stand there, it showed that the rear wheel alignment was out, and that could have been caused by, I don't know, me knocking a curb or something, I don't know. But anyway, they put the alignment back in and changed the tyres. Now, they were still within limit in terms of the tread, and they looked good from the outside. So I had no way of knowing that all this wear was going on the inside of the tyres. But they had done 66,000 kilometres. So what's that? It's about 35,000 miles. Now, I can't remember ever having a set of tyres on a petrol or diesel car that got much beyond that. I mean, obviously, with an electric vehicle, you've got all this torque as soon as you put your foot down. And some people use it and they spin the wheels and they do the electric car party trick, and obviously they go through their tyres. Well, I mean, you can go through tyres if you drive like an idiot in a nice car as well. It's just entirely depends on the driver. But certainly, in my experience, I'm using no more tyres than I ever was on a nice car. Now, the other thing was about tyres, I made the mistake on the last video of having driven the Kia EV3 and noticed that the 17-inch wheel version of that car was on 215 60s, not 215 55. I made the error of saying, oh, well, that means you get another 5 millimeters of tyre between you and the road on these 17-inch wheel EV3. Of course, that's not the case at all. Now, sorry if you already know this, but the first number is called the section width, and that's in this case 215, so it's 215 millimeters. Then it's slash, and then it's 55, 60, or whatever the next number is. But that number is not millimeters. That is a ratio. It's a percentage of the section width. So in the case of 215 55s on the e-Niro, that's 55% of 215, and that's 118 millimeters. Now, you won't measure 118 millimeters if you go out to the car and go from your wheel rim to the road. It's a lot less than that. That's the measurement from what they call the tyre bead inside the rim all the way out to the road. Okay, so that's it's very deceptive, because that's what I thought it was. No. So somebody pointed it out to me, and I went and looked it up properly to make absolutely sure. That's what it is, and that's called the section height. Now, on a 215 60 tyre, the section height is 129 millimeters. So there's 11 millimeters more to play with. You've got that extra 11 millimeters of comfort, if you like. And I mean, I drove the 19-inch wheel EV3, and it was very, very comfy. I've been offered to go back to Neil and have a drive with the 17-inch wheel. The guy's been emailing me. I'm just not able to do that at the moment. I've no reason to go to Neil. So, but I will do that at some point. The other thing was that had I noticed the towing out of the rear wheels, had I noticed this wheel alignment going out, I'm thinking, well, you know, the car sits there in the garage on the other side of the yard from the lounge, and so we're looking out through the patio windows at the car, and maybe I think it looks a bit different now, and now the wheel alignments. I may be wrong. I can't remember sort of thinking, oh, those wheels are out of alignment. But anyway, it's all good now. And in fact, I have noticed that when you go up to, a much higher speed, like, I tested it the other day up to 130 kilometers an hour, and it is running a lot truer and smoother. But as I say, at 110, 115, I wasn't noticing anything at all. The reduction gear thing then, 2 videos ago, somebody pointed out to me that the videos I'd featured from these guys over in Zagreb in Croatia, very good though they were saying, oh, this is an inherent problem with the motors on e-Niros and Hyundai Konas, and they all have this problem. And somebody pointed out to me, no, that's not the case. The real videos to look at are these guys over in Ukraine. Now, I had seen these videos before, but I didn't know to what extent they were working. So it's a company called, what are they called? Master Service Electro, and their videos are called car repair videos, and they look at all kinds of electric and hybrid cars. And I've just shown you, now, one of their videos. It's all spoken in Russian, but it's subtitled in English. And I thought, oh, they're in Ukraine, they're in Kharkiv, and no, they're in Kharkov and Kiev. And I thought, why aren't they speaking Ukrainian? Well, I cut and paste some of the written stuff on their YouTube site, and it does say Russian. Anyway, these guys are quite interesting because they're doing repairs, as I say, on electric cars and plug-in hybrids. And they give their comments on the design of different manufacturers. So they talk about Volkswagen Group vehicles, Mercedes Group vehicles, or Teslas, Nissans, and Kia and Hyundai. And they're not particularly critical of Kia and Hyundai. They say they have seen this problem with the milling sound, the Wheel of Fortune sound, as people in the UK call it, before. But actually they say the product is really good, and they make the point that they're improving all the time, and they quite like the designs. They're very critical of Mercedes, actually, especially the way they route the high voltage cables, and they've got something to say about all the different manufacturers. You've got to slog through. The videos are quite long, and it's all subtitled in English. What I found quite interesting is that on one of the videos on the, I think they were taking a Kona motor apart, all the lights went out. I guess they get power cuts because they're under attack, or anyway, I found it really interesting, and the level to which they will go to find what's actually wrong. There's this one video that I'm just showing you bits of now, where they take the motor of a Kona apart, and then towards the end of the video, they also do the same with an e-Niro. And one of the things they do is they take the reduction gearbox completely apart, and they actually disassemble the bearings, and they look at the quality of the ball bearings. They put them under, a microscope and have a look at them, and they show you why some bearings are better than others, and some are out of tolerance and some are in tolerance, and so you've got that varying quality. But anyway, I really enjoyed watching this, but I'm an anorak when it comes to this kind of thing. And I also looked at how long should we expect these cars to last in terms of kilometers. Well, if you Google how long should an electric motor in an electric vehicle last, and what they say is between 30,000 and 40,000 hours. Now, what does that actually mean in kilometers? Well, since I zeroed my meter on the 15th of March, I've done, I don't know, it's about 4,500 kilometers, something like that, and it's taken 75, 76 hours, whatever it was. Anyway, I divided one into the other and found that my average speed since the middle of March, over 4,500 kilometers, has been 54.5 kilometers an hour. Now, but that's the average, and I wonder, if you looked at the average on a car, say in the UK, what does it do on average? 30 miles an hour. Now, if you multiply the average miles per hour by 30,000 hours, you come out at 1.6 million kilometers, which is 1 million miles. And I think that's quite interesting. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying these cars are ever going to do 1,000,000 miles, but I mean, the reduction gearbox will probably wear out, or the battery would have got below a level where it's useful by that point. But it's kind of interesting to know that motors themselves, electric motors themselves, are very, very durable. In fact, that leads me on to the next part. On the next video, I'm going to talk about a couple of cars here in France that have become a little bit mini celebrities. They're two e-Niros that have both passed the 500,000 kilometre mark. They're both early 2019 cars like mine, so I thought you might find that interesting. I'm going to do another video on that in due course. Anyway, hope you found that interesting, and until the next time.